And good evening, everybody. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode 121 of New York Red Bulls Discussion Group, the podcast. I'm Garry Redmond, one of your hosts tonight. Of course, Mark Coates cannot be with us because of family issues, and he will be joining us in 2 weeks. Lanre Badmus should be joining us shortly. So let's talk about what we're going to be doing and talking about tonight, since I'm going to be generally running solo tonight. We're going to review the match between the New York Red Bulls and, of course, Sporting Kansas City, which started very sleepy and everything else, but then had a great finish and wound up with a point. Of course, we're going to preview, of course, the next upcoming game, which is going to be at Chicago Soldier Field. The entire crew, both New York Red Bulls senior team and junior team, are heading off, of course, to the Windy City to take on the Chicago Fire. Of course, we're going to review all the Gotham FC action. They did play against Houston Dash. Hot takes from all you guys in the live audience. I see you guys coming online right now. Good to see you guys, plus the live audience, and, of course, the match predictions from all of you guys. And, of course, naturally, if you do miss the live show, which is happening right now, you can always catch the recording in our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Goals.tv and, of course, Spotify.com. And all of those episodes are uploaded to those platforms the very next day for your listening and viewing pleasure. And, of course, we want to make this podcast one of the best ones out there for soccer content. And this is where you guys come in, right? So let us know how we're doing. Okay, we welcome any feedback, any questions, comments, or anything else, good or bad. Let us know how we're doing. So please shoot us an email, of course, at our email address at rbdgthepodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that is rbdgthepodcast@gmail.com. So, how was your weekend? Most of us have been, cooling our heels and pretty much getting overheated somewhat, because when you take on a team like Sporting Kansas City, which only won 2 games out on the road, and that's basically it, you expect 3 points out of the boys. That didn't happen. More importantly, it was pretty much a very sleepy game, including one terrific chance to get on the board first. Blew it. I'll show you that little part in about a minute. I think folks right now are a little bit heated because now it's like the 11th draw. I mean, all these draws coming up left and right, and people expecting wins. I get it. I dig it. We want, especially with it, people are wondering how in the world is this team still stuck on 4th place? Right? Smoke and mirrors and everything. Well, that's a lot to do with the coach. Oh, by the way, the coach was suspended because he was yelling and screaming at the referees, got himself too many yellow cards, 1 yellow card too many, and he got sent up, of course, into the suites where he was by himself watching the action. I'm sure there's some holes at walls nearby, because in the first half that didn't go exactly to plan, and more importantly, looked a little disappointed after the game, because I basically showed you guys the post game interview with the coach, and while he was satisfied with the tie, he wasn't really satisfied at the result, and neither was anyone else. Let's talk about Sporting Kansas City. Let's, as they say, let's move on. The team coming in, they're on their way, of course, to the U.S. Open Cup final versus LAFC. They were a very terrible road team, but they were informed. They were basically rolling, coming in a high. So folks were expecting, well, after the loss versus Philadelphia, that left a very nasty taste in everybody's mouth, the fans, the organization, the players especially. They were thirsty for a win, and they wanted one. But first couple of minutes in, of course, it didn't look that way when you had Corey Burke and Elias Manuel starting up on top. When we saw him on the in the starting sheet, and everyone in the press box was like going, looks like chaos is going to ensue. But chaos didn't happen, especially when they had a golden chance to put one on the board. And I'm just going to put the video up here. You guys also, saw what happened. And here we go.
Initially taken back by Nealis to Duncourt, and he plays a good ball through to Burke. Burke is through on goal. He gets it to Manuel, and somehow Manuel missed the target. It was on a platter.
like I said, it was on the platter. It was right there for everyone to see, right there for him to have, right there for the goal. And I kind of jokingly said this in the game thread, only an organization like New York Red Bull can only find a way to miss a wide open net. And so, you know what they say, if you have an opportunity and if you don't take it, somebody else will. And that somebody else was Alan Pulido in the less than 3 minutes after that. Got the visitors on the board.
Tommy keeping it alive. Davis now scooping it in for Pulido. Pulido on the volley! The first decent chance for Sporting Kansas City on the night. And Alan Pulido puts the visitors in front.
To find that inflection point up top in the 9th position. And yes, you know that he's going to come deep. But what a run. What a read that is from Pulido.
Yeah, what a terrific run for Pulido. Basically kicked the ball like over the entire defense. And voila, off of volley, into the back of the net. So it was 1-0 for the, one thing for the visitors late in the second half. And things looked pretty grim as Sporting Kansas City simply parked the bus for the rest of the evening. Red Bulls had no answer, no Anthony, no questions, no nothing. And then up steps made some great substitutions. Corey Burke was asked to sit down with a bandage on his head after he took a foot to the dome. And of course, insert Van Zier and of course Mr. Hall, who, well, he's been pretty good these last couple of games. I mean, he's showed a lot of moxie, and he definitely understood the assignment, definitely understood the moment, because almost toward the end of the match, nearly in stoppage time, Julian Hall once again steals a point from the visitor.
By the way, that yellow card for Jake Davis means he's suspended the next match. The ball in is broken up by Castellanos. Hall takes a shot, and Hall wrong foots the keeper, and he levels the match. The second goal of his young career, and it's a massive one for the New York Red Bulls late in this match.
On the tail end of this, we've talked about maintaining a presence up high for both of these teams, but watch as the ball comes off of him, the way that he's able to keep himself square. He doesn't try and shift one way or the other. That's the overall smarts of an out-and-out striker. To recognize the fact that he keeps himself upright, you maintain the ability here, Nate, to go far post or cut back across. And the momentum across his hips is everything.
And you saw Tim Melia, he wished he had that shot back because he was right there, Lanre. Hello. Nice to see you. Of course, naturally, you being the model, coming in fashionably. We had little issues with supermodels. I'm saying goodbye, especially supermodel girlfriend. I mean,
yeah, sounds like that. Technical difficulties. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be on and talk to you all this evening. Yeah, I'm really happy for the young kid. I'm really happy that, he got second goal in MLS play, that he rescued a point for us. But, this is just a team that we should be beating at home. That miss by Elias Manuel was completely unacceptable, beyond disgraceful. It is just a microcosm of everything that's wrong with this club.
Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
It's a disgrace. It is an aberration.
It's been, it's been the story of the season, right? Okay. Where you got guys up front who are paid a hell of a lot more money. Well, I'm not going to say Elias get paid a hell of a lot more money, but you got guys up front that, for all intents and purposes, can't consistently put the ball in the back of the net. Now, I'm not ready to bury these guys. Well, maybe Corey, who still is on milk carton status. Have you seen me? We haven't seen you since, and it was his very first start. So imagine everybody was looking at each other like, Corey getting the start. I mean, I can't blame Sandra on this, okay? First of all, this is one of my pet peeves, as you know, okay, about MLS playing through the international break. Okay,
Yes,
when
yes.
you when
Oh
you
my God, I could go on and on about that.
when you have,
It's
I
just
mean,
terrible.
we were one of 6 matches on the schedule. It was a very light Saturday night. More on that later. Okay. Um, Forsberg was not available. Okay. Not there. Forsberg was not available. But everybody, Lewis Morgan, he's with Scotland right now. He's hanging and banging in Scotland. I mean, Noah Ella, well, he's over in Sweden doing his thing. The beard, he's doing this thing for his national team. It's understandable. This is one of the things that I really complain about Major League Soccer, where it's
Yeah,
okay to take a break once in a while. Okay. It's okay. All right. Most
I'm
leagues around the
serious.
world, most leagues around the world, they take a break. They chill, okay, during the international break. We don't. Well, of course, naturally, while all that was going on, we saw the Stars and Stripes getting slaughtered by the Canuck boys. Okay.
Yikes.
Hey,
Bad, bad.
for most of us, who can remember long enough, I knew you and I are Knick fans. Okay.
Yes,
Anybody remember Mike D'Antoni?
of course. How could I
Mike
forget?
No, I mean, okay, when he was unceremoniously fired from the Knicks, and then he went to the
Yeah.
Phoenix, and then he went to the Phoenix Suns, and on the very first time when the Phoenix Suns, when a young crew took on the Knicks that was basically favored to win the East, and sliced and diced them, took their manhood and threw it in the blender, and you had Mike D'Antoni looking at the Knick bench, you know, just leering at them like, yeah. Sup? I didn't see a single second of the game. I'm sorry for being, off tangent here, but that's what I'm thinking when Jesse Marsh was looking looking at the United States, because they
I didn't
treated
see
it.
it. I didn't see it either.
They
He actually went to the Lakers. Oh,
yeah,
Mike Anthony actually went to the Lakers.
and
He came from the Suns. He went to the Lakers
Lakers
afterwards. But
and the
yeah,
Lakers just laid them out. Just laid them. It was one of the worst losses in Knicks history. But I mean,
bad.
you want to talk about being walked out the club, all right? They won the game by nearly 30 points. Okay, there was almost a fight, okay, on the bench, because guys were coming
It's
off the
bad.
bench and they were just laying up after laying up. No, Knicks had nothing. But there was D'Antoni. They did, they did a shot on him, and he had this look like, mm. just enjoying the beatdown. I mean, but that's how I looked at it with Jesse Marsh. We're not going to get that. But back to the team, okay. And I agree with Nicholas. It's time to give Hall and Goma the minutes.
Yep. Past time.
Mm,
Past time. To
I,
be honest.
Goma, maybe. I think he can come off the bench and do what he needs to go. Hall, I think it's time. I honestly do think it's time. I think it's time. He's earned his. I mean, the kid looked like a veteran out there, like he's done it before. But he's been doing
Yeah. Yeah.
it, with New York Red Bull too. Pretty much all season. Okay. Um, this is the thing about people like to yell and scream about the team during their development phase, when getting everybody for New York Red Bull too. But this is what the system is supposed to do. This is what's supposed to work, right? When you got guys who you're getting paid a
Yeah.
whole lot of money not doing it, those kids on the lower levels and everything else, they're winning games, they're winning tournaments, they're winning matches left and right. So it's just a matter of time before they're going to make their, stake their claim to the first team. Competition's supposed to win out. Okay. Honestly, personally, I see the kids in many of the big clubs around the world. I'd love to have those kids on, on this team,
Yeah.
or like Noah Ella and and everybody else, all those from Man U, from Juventus, and everybody else. But in those particular programs, and even with your beloved club in Chelsea, I know that there are
Yeah.
scores of kids, okay, that if they came into MLS, they would rock the house, because
Completely.
they
Good
would,
Lord.
in some cases, they would own the league. This is in a sense I want Red Bull to say, hey, you got kids who are not quite ready for the senior team that you're getting ready to sell. Well, yeah, can we borrow them? Don't worry, we'll give them a contract. You put them on loan and see what happens from there. If they're good enough, we'll give them a contract. We'll give you a little slice. That's how it works. That's how it works. If you're going to be, quote unquote, a club for the youth, we'll go for the youth. But
this club doesn't do that.
But don't forget some veterans who are just out there. And I don't mean guys, I don't mean guys like my man, is sitting out there in the third tier, like looking for a contract, looking for a job at that point. None of those guys. I'm talking about ballers on the come up, okay, the USL and everything else. Those dudes, okay, who are basically balling for an MLS contract. But it's a tough game. The match, of course, ended in a 1-1 draw, not to everyone's satisfaction. And as you can see, hey, 1-1 Sporting Kansas City, New York Red Bulls, Pulido in the 55th minute, Hall in the 89th. It was a sleepy game. Hall scored his second goal of the season, his first since June 19th versus CF Montreal. Remember that nail-biting, tie at the death when he became the franchise's youngest goal scorer at 16 years. What were you doing at age 16? 16 years, 87 days old. Gee, I can't remember what the hell I was doing. I was 16, but I was probably
not scoring for the New York Red Bulls.
No, probably up to
not scoring for the New York Red Bulls. I played as a defender anyway when I played.
Dudes from my island. Manhattan Island, okay? The native's first career goal in the Red Bull Arena is his 7th goal of the season between the first team and New York Red Bulls, too. So it's not like he hasn't been scoring. The dude's been scoring on both squads, okay? Both of the forwards' MLS goals this season have leveled the score in matches. Oh, yeah. And I agree with you, Nick. Those are nice, where's ours? What do you mean? Well, that has to deal with the team. That has nothing to do
corporate. It's a corporate. It's a BS corporate reason.
Part of it. But those uniforms, of course, was commissioned by the league, so it's a little bit of flux. I've been asking him as who owns the Metro Stars name. It's not the Red Bulls, unfortunately. It's the league. So if they wanted to give a retro, Metro Stars look, they could have done it already. That's basically, how I look at it.
The thing that stinks. The thing that stinks before we just switch topics. The thing that stinks is that Atlanta has like the old Metro. Literally, they have the old Metro Stars jersey. So like that sucks. They really stole it. They really stole it, and they won a cup in it, which is disgusting.
And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing.
No, nothing. Nothing. And then number 2.
That ship has sailed. So moving on. Go ahead. Number 2.
And then number 2. Why the hell does LAFC have a retro jersey? They've only been in the league 6 years. If you give them a retro jersey, why not give them a Chivas USA jersey? Why not give them a Chivas USA jersey? This is ridiculous.
This is why I said it was commissioned by the league. If it was commissioned by the teams, it would have a different look. See? Okay? It would have a different look. I mean, to me, there should be 1 week where all the original 10 teams go back to their original look back in the day. Okay.
Agreed.
Back in the day. The problem is, they was Red Bulls got a lot of money. They can just do it. Well, the uniforms that the Metro Stars will wear back in the day were commissioned by Nike, like the one I'm wearing. Okay. You had that Nike swoosh. Okay. So Nike and Adidas, they don't get along too well, as we know.
Of course.
No, they don't get along too well. So there would have to be some sort of concession where if they wanted to get the Metro Stars look, something either what I'm wearing or even the home jersey where they have with the lightning stripes on the shoulders, somebody has to get paid in order for that to happen. So something's got to give. But if the LA Galaxy can manage to get stripes on their unis 1 year when they had the green and yellow stripes, so can the Red Bulls. I mean,
beautiful, gorgeous. I love that.
I don't see the problem here. Peter Stroud, remember when he had a broken ankle, way back on April 13th, a very gruesome injury back then. He came back and he made his first starting appearance since then. Since he suffered an ankle injury. Sean Nealis made his 150th career appearance. He didn't do too bad across all competitions for the club. 13th player in franchise history, Lanre, to accomplish that feat. 13. Okay. Furthermore, He becomes the 5th defender in franchise history to accomplish this, okay? And the 3rd New York native to accomplish this since Walenik Mendez joins, joins that list. John Tolkien, 116th start for the club across all competitions. He'll be gone soon, okay, which gives him sole position of 9th place in franchise history for most starts made by a defender across all competitions. That was passing Connor Lade. Remember him? Okay, so he now steps in front. And finally, we joked about this early in the show. Corey Burke made his first start of the season and his first since July 15th. 2023 against Real Salt Lake. He didn't do very much then. He didn't do very much Saturday night. So I'll ask you, and I'll ask everybody on the live audience. Hi, by the way. How you doing, Lisa? The match itself. Put it together in one word, my man.
Disappointing. I didn't even watch it either, to be honest with you, but disappointing.
Of course not. You were basically in hiding after that Philly game. Oh, by the way, happy birthday. After that Philly game. I just said to myself, like, damn it, you did this again on his birthday. You know he's gonna come back in here and blow up the place if you keep doing.
Honestly, the league should just stop. The league should stop scheduling us to play Philly on or around my birthday, because every year we lose. That's the 3rd year in a row. Stop embarrassing me, man. If you're going to play Philly on my birthday weekend, stop embarrassing me. I'm tired of it, bro.
Well, I did say
3 years, bro.
Did anybody get tired of losing to Philly yet? I don't.
This crappy Philly team, I'm finished.
Well,
if Forsberg doesn't come back, and if we were just, like, let's say in a hypothetical scenario, Forsberg wouldn't come back because he was hurt. His injury somehow doesn't heal, and we saw more Lewis Morgan to Panathinaikos in Greece, Nick's favorite team. Imagine that happens. I'm shutting myself down for the rest of the season again. Thankfully, I don't think we have to really seriously consider that. But it's just, he's so annoying, man. How does Manoel miss that chance?
Because
how? I could have made that. Remember Dave, left back, center back.
I have seen
issue for nothing. You could have made that. My dog could have made that. Both my dogs could have made that.
Hey, I'm not defending him, but I've seen world-class sitters blow, world-class strikers blow sitters. Okay, and I'm not talking.
We all have.
We all have. We've seen guys blow a sitter who was right in front of the net and shanked it wide. Okay, that could have made the difference between tying the match and winning it. Blow it. And I'm sitting there trying to pick my jaw from up the ground saying, how do you get paid all these millions of dollars? and you shanking like a 5-year-old? And then you're gonna go back to the bench like you're a baller without the coach taking your head off, or a fan who just lost his house because he stupidly bet on the match.
He bet on Manoel scoring. How? Why?
How?
The only thing that's worse is betting on Corey Burke scoring. You deserve to lose whatever you bet. If you ever bet on Corey Burke ever doing anything on a football pitch.
Our problem with our forwards is that they got lead feet. That's basically it. Nice guy.
Literally. Cinder block feet, man. Corey Burke should retire.
Heart of gold, feet of cement. That's basically it.
Just retire, man. See, McLaren don't even call him up for Jamaica no more. That should tell you the extent of how finished he is.
Well, they tried to kill him. Everybody he can't go to Kingston because
the own goal.
Yeah, the own goal. The guys, folks were upset to put it mildly.
Yeah.
So the good news.
Thank God he wasn't Escobar.
No. Let's not bring that up.
Thank God.
It's a sore subject with a lot of Colombians. So the good news is, the bad news is we didn't win. The good news is we didn't lose. So we stay remaining on 4th place. Inter Miami, they clinched the playoff spot. No, they didn't get the shield. With 59 points in the East. Followed right behind by Cincinnati, 8 points away. Then Columbus, then us with 43. Right behind us and slipping pretty fast is New York City because they didn't play last week. They will play next week. Then Charlotte, then Orlando. Toronto and DC wind up the conference as far as the playoff spots. Now, keeping an eye on the standing, should the end season end today, we face NYCFC at home. So, that's a delicious, that's a very delicious prospect. I mean, that could juice up the rivalry even more, but something has to happen first. We have to, complete the regular season before we get anywhere. We were hoping that the Red Bulls get a couple of more wins to cement where they are. As there's 7 games left for them to do that. So I feel confident that pretty much they're going to make the playoffs one way or another. It depends on how high in the seeding that there will be. Try to avoid that bye, which right now belongs to both Toronto FC and DC United. They are the 8th and then 9th place team.
DC,
yes, yep, DC. They're above that line. Atlanta is 2 points behind DC. More on that later. So things are getting a little interesting, and they all, the good news is the Red Bulls probably have a generally easy schedule, which is blowing everyone's mind right now. But things are going to get a little difficult because then we have to place Atlanta, and then after Chicago, which you talk about that after the break. After Chicago, then we got it. Then we got Atlanta. Then we got NYCFC for the return match. This should be fun. Could be a playoff preview. Who decides to win the Hunt game? That should be a little spicy there, but more on that, more on that later. Yeah, I mean, it was a good news, bad news scenario, and I would admit with everyone, that folks are pointing their fingers at the Red Bulls and why they didn't get a sizable forward in the transfer window. It's the transfer window. You're not going to get, everyone. You're going to get what's left, especially if you don't hop on that player early. You of all people, as a Chelsea supporter, the entire process of getting a big baller from start to finish. It is not automatic. It is not done it's not, the negotiations take sometimes weeks or even months, and even that
years.
Yeah, that too. Okay. That's a very rare, instance, but even that, and even then, before anything goes wrong, a whole lot of things can go wrong before they put pen to paper. I mean, everyone's yelling about this kid who decided to say, he failed his fitness test. Okay. Would you really be upset at the club after they signed him, given all that moolah, only find out that he was not even fit when he showed up wearing the shirt? Lord knows we had a couple of ballers that that fit that description. And we were all wondering, okay, who was the idiot sporting director who signed him and not see that he was actually fit to hit the field? Oh, you. So as much as Lord knows I've jumped on this team thousands of times and things like that, this isn't one of them. So the good news is that many of these guys that were injured in the early part of the year when we were slaying guys at home left and right are now coming back, including Forsberg, which we're being told is 2 weeks away. So if he's not back for Chicago, he could be back versus Atlanta and working his way into fitness because he looked good. Well, he was sitting up in the press box yelling and screaming at his teammates. I mean, don't tell me he's not involved. He was cursing like a sailor, okay, at everybody on the field. What the F are you doing? And all that stuff. I mean, he wants to get in there, but he knows he's not ready. So I honestly believe that once he gets back, things will get back to normal somewhat because the team is missing their quarterback. He's it. Like it or not, he's it. So he'll be back soon. Okay, before we got to confirm from the man himself. He says, "I'm coming. Just sit tight. I'm coming. I'll be there. If he'll be. Everyone's traveling with the team in Chicago. But I agree with Nichols. They are. And the fact that when Manuel took a shot where Brock couldn't control the ball for an easier chance. I mean, you got 2 guys with 2 left feet. That's basically the size of it. I mean, it's it's annoying as hell, and I know, I know a lot of folks. Elias Manuel out. We wish, and then and we wish. I mean, and then if we do play, and then Miguel, if we face Charlotte, then what? he's our only. They're sick of him. I mean, the people over in the Queen City, they're fed up with him. So it isn't there, but it's getting marginally better. I can say I wish I could have a little bit of optimism, because that dark cloud about getting knocked out in the first round still is a specter in everyone's heads. But something tells me things will be a little different this time around. So that's the question I have here. Does he get back in time to keep us a playoff spot at home? That's my big question. I think he will. I think he will, Lisa. He'll be back in time definitely for the stretch run. Everyone wants to end the season strong. Okay. They know where they are. They want to stay there. Okay. Or possibly get a chance to move up. But what has to happen is win games. Okay. That miss was the worst on MLS history. Yeah, I have to admit. I mean, but we have seen guys blow sitters.
Worse.
So we're going to take a break here. When we return, Lanre, who was fashionably late, but he's got a story to tell about Chicago and how probably one of the worst teams in MLS is going to give us a headache once again, like they did at home, and where we just might get a victory on the road. Sit tight, folks.
Hopefully.
Sit tight, folks. We'll be back in 30
Well, let's not be too positive here.
That beat never gets old. Anyway, so Chicago Fire. Looking at the standings, Lanre, you and I both think they're in 14th place in the East. They're basically near the bottom of the table overall, but they're 27th out of 29th. Their home record, their home record basically is 4-7-3. And despite that, and this is where you come in, despite that,
yep,
they give us fits. Take it away.
They always give us fits. Chicago always gives us fits, whatever their record is, and they've been struggling for over the last half decade. I can't even remember the last time the Chicago Fire made the playoffs at this point. Yeah, despite saying all that, they're always a team that gives us tough fits. They're very tough to play on the road in Chicago. I believe when Klimala scored his brace in the rain to beat them back in 2022. I think that was our first win in Chicago for at least like 5+ years at that point.
Correct.
And we think we've only it's been a long time. They always give us a lot of fits. They play with a lot of heart for what it's worth in front of their home fans, especially when it's Chicago versus New York. That said, they're in a pretty rough shape in terms of the standings. Their big signings such as Kellen Acosta haven't exactly worked out to their favor. They do have Brian Gutierrez, the young guy, 21-year-old, the winger, and then they have Hugo Cowpers. He's their top scorer with 10 goals. Gutierrez has 6.
He's
Marin Haile Selassie.
Yep, he's their top gun.
Cowpers is their top gun. He's their top scorer. Haile Selassie, Marin Haile Selassie, the Swiss striker. He's got 5 goals and 2 assists. He's been good on the link up. And they also have, obviously, they got Andrew Gutman, as their starting left back. He's got a goal and assist to his name this year. Miss him. He was very, very solid for us. He's the last left back he's literally the last left back other than John Tolkien that we've had. Crazy. And then, of course, they got Mr. Tom Barlow on the bench for them. Our old guy.
He didn't have a lot of starts over there, did he?
He hasn't started. He hasn't scored or assisted in 23 matches this year. So
Well,
apparently whatever he was doing with us, at least he was scoring some of the time. He's yet to get off the mark for Chicago, and but he's the least of their concerns. Overall.
I mean, little wonder. Look who's coaching them. I mean, Frank Lopez.
Frank Lopez.
I mean,
more anti-football.
I mean,
that's him in a nutshell.
Well, yeah, okay, but he's got a lot of tools. He's got a lot of tools in that chest to know how to beat you. Okay, he's one of those MLS coaching lifers that's seen just about every team, every player, and he just takes a red magic marker and go, yeah, I'm going to attack that hole, that hole, that hole, and that hole. And Red Bulls coming in with some lot of holes, okay, that they can exploit. And last I checked, the guys in the midfield, they got size on those boys, okay? Oh, some big boys, okay? Most of the goals are sometimes scored off of headers or set pieces. But
Gaston Jimenez is 6'2".
Yeah, but if there's one thing that the Red Bulls have a slight advantage, Chicago's slow on that ball. Have you seen them?
Pace. I was literally saying pace. Pace.
They have literally no pace. How can you have it in a league, okay? In a league where most of the guys, they be like track stars, right? Running and gunning, up and down the pitch. That's why they are where they are, because they're literally being outrun by pacey dudes. And when I've seen them, get the ball, I mean, then I'm not saying that they're bad. If you allow them to control the midfield, you got issues. As NYC found out the hard way, right? They somehow had a 2-goal, they had a 2-goal lead and just sat back, and Chicago just simply went up and scored 2 goals on them. That's how dangerous they are, okay? But despite the fact that they don't have a lot of pace, once they start connecting in the midfield and once they start connecting up forward, issues, okay? Despite the lack of pace. So if I'm the coach of the Red Bulls, I'm like, okay, we're going to run and gun these guys off. We're going to run these dudes off. So tell you what, we know Lewis is still not available.
Unfortunately,
Ornell's not available. We know Ella's not available. So we're not saying that the defense is suspect. Okay. Well, I'd say the only kind of weakness is either Tolkien, or Kyle Duncan, because they like to overlap up front, but then they leave too much in the back. Okay. So there might be some issues there, but I got a lot of confidence, and you feel free to feel free to overrule me. Our midfield is okay, not great, but okay. Great. All right. There's some pace there. We got Dunkor, we got Gengar. It depends who's going to be starting. Already done in Europe. He's got to get back here first. He might be available, Nicholas, for that game. I don't know. I'll find out about it by when we talk to the coach on Thursday. But he might be on his way back. Way back right now. It's all really about us. Really having scheduling. But and I agree with you. The Fire know how to develop talent, just like the Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Okay. They do. Anybody remember that dude, John? He's in the Premier League right now. Okay.
John Duran. Yeah. John Duran. What a baller.
He's a baller. Okay.
A beast.
It was just, he was a beast. It was just a matter of time before one of the big leagues picked him up. And he's doing quite well over there. Okay. They have a lot of, so the Fire does have a development system, just like the Red Bulls. I think they're slightly above the Red Bulls in that area. But they got some young kids coming up, and that is, and that very much is true, Nicholas. So I think Lewis will be back. We'll have to know for sure when we talk to the coach on Thursday, because that's where we have the conference call with Sandro Schwartz. I think he's back. He should be back. And then we'll see. We'll see what happens. Jets TD, huh? They're winning.
Let's go. Jets. Jets. Let's go.
Hey, my mighty G-men fell on their faces. First,
mighty.
Well, let's put it this way. Vikings had their revenge. Remember how we knocked out Minnesota in the playoffs? That's their
2 years ago? Yeah. Yeah, I was curious.
Well, that's why I'm not so mad. So, all right, you got your payback. There you go. Okay. Y'all got mad. You got crazy mad after we knocked you guys out in the playoffs, which, by the way, we weren't supposed to win that game. But there you go. You got your payback. That's gonna be yes, Giants stink. We know. Yes. This is so. I mean, hey, I was bracing for this. I said, okay, so we let a running back walk away to Philly of all damn teams. At the Philly
that revenge game gonna be crazy though.
And our offensive line is still not great, and the quarterback who's we gave a lot of money to and hasn't improved not one iota. Oh, this is going to be a fun season. But what are we looking at as far as this game is concerned? Thinking all the tangibles and everything else. What's your prediction for Red Bulls versus Chicago?
1-1.
Another draw?
Yes.
I never thought that I would.
Chris Brady is a beast in goal. Can't discount him. Remember when we played them earlier this year?
Yeah.
I think it was a scoreless draw, no?
Yes, it was. The stone he
stood on his head.
Stood on his head and blocked every shot that the Red Bulls had. Okay. Most of it was basically easy, but that's pretty much what they do. I'm gonna go with a draw myself, only because I don't see anybody up front that can penetrate that back line and that goalkeeper. I just don't.
No.
I don't have. I haven't had a lot of confidence. I have a lot of confidence for the last couple of games, and what I'm seeing is telling me nothing different. No one is if you have Lewis Morgan, who right now is basically your only offense, okay, he's your top gun, and obviously you can't basically win games.
Only gun that's firing, thoughtless of Top Gun.
You can't win. Obviously, you can't win them games without him. So you're going to need him. And Forsberg can't come back soon enough, okay,
seriously,
to organize that offense, because he can't do it by himself. I mean, him and Lewis Morgan are a deadly combination up on top, especially when he sits in the kitchen in that defense and starts passing the ball, making those deadly passes all over the place. Okay. We'll see. If he's starting on that game, I like what I see. If not, it only takes how long they're going to how he's going to have his regeneration and everything else. There was a game that took place at Red Bull Arena while we were, getting ourselves ready for Chicago, and that's Gotham FC. Gotham FC took on the Houston Dash. Yasmin Ryan, Yas Queen. She got things started in the 10th minute. Okay. And Miss Gonzalez, she pretty much put a cap on the 3 minutes into stoppage time. Ordonez is the lone tally for Houston. And there you go. They won their match, and they're slow for to climb the thing. Their next match, they're gonna go, Lanre, off to Seattle, home of Starbucks, the grunge, and everything else. Monday Night Football, 10 o'clock at night. So if you're going to watch the Gotham girls, get some rest, because it's going to be a late night. 10 o'clock is the kickoff. As I mentioned before, on the 16th. New York Red Bulls and New York Red Bulls 2 is Saturday the 14th. The entire crew is heading out to the Windy City. That's the first team and the second team. In this case, New York Red Bulls 2, they're playing Chicago Fire 2 at Soldier Field. Okay. Red Bulls will be playing there, and that game will take place on Friday. Okay, Friday night, 7 o'clock, September the 13th. Red Bulls got the next day, also at 8:30 p.m. So we're going to take care of that with a game thread and all that stuff. So, not much to speak of. NYCFC didn't play. They'll be playing next week. So if anyone's saying that we won the weekend, now that doesn't count. Sorry, you have to be. You have to be.
They have to be playing. They have to be playing. I will say, it's a miracle, honestly, that we're still in fourth with all the draws. We've had 2 wins since the month of June. It's a miracle we're still in fourth. The only reason we're still in fourth is because NYCFC and Charlotte are worse.
That's it.
Somehow.
I mean, somehow. A lot of it has to deal with coaching. A lot of it has to deal with some of the players who have stepped up. Okay.
Yes.
The Red Bulls record is 10-5-13. Out of all the teams in Major League Soccer, we're one of the very few that have total losses in single digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, y'all. I know that doesn't mean a hill of beans to a whole lot of folks, but we're only 6 teams. Okay, 6 teams that only have losses in single digits. We're one of, looking at the record once again, we're one of 1, 2, 3, excuse me. We're one of 1, 2, 3. Yeah. We're one of 3 teams that have losses that have less than 6. So we have 5 losses. Somebody has 4. That 4, by the way, happens to be Miami. So imagine in a sense, can we deduct points from the Smurfs when they rent our stadium?
I thought they were done with that. Apparently this year they're not.
No, they're not. They're not. And that, their stadium will be ready in. I don't think it's going to be. They're supposed to be having it ready in 2026 or 7, one of the two. But it is being built. You can actually go right across the street from Citi Field right now. There's a construction site. You can see it up close and personal. Feel free to do your thing.
Inshallah, they hit a huge snag or a roadblock and it doesn't get built, and the Smurfs are still homeless. Inshallah.
If there's one game we all need to be taking a look at, of course, and this is with Nick always with the facts. DC versus Smurfs versus the Smurf is going to be a big game for both of those squads. Why?
Raccoons versus Smurfs.
Yeah. Here's the thing that we're hoping that DC does, and I hate being in a position where we're asking those those village idiots a favor.
Those raccoon trash pandas.
I'm hoping for either a win or draw. That'll keep them off our backs for about a bit. Okay. A win or a draw, a loss or a draw. One of the two, for the Smurfs. That'll keep you guys off, off our backs, for a bit. But it only works if we start getting points, because coaches spoke about it. Some of the players are a little frustrated. We all know the entire fan base is upset about it. They want points. So we have to start getting maximum points. We need to solidify our position because we're not that far away from Columbus. We're really not. I mean, 49 points for Columbus, 43 for us. So imagine we get
they have 2 games in hand, though.
That is true. That is true. That is the one asterisk I have on my notes right now. Columbus has 2 games in hand because of all the.
So add 6 points, basically. It's more like a 12-point gap instead of 6.
Pretty much, right. So
the only best teams in MLS you can expect them to win.
Well, I don't see them surrendering 3rd place, to be honest with you. I don't.
I don't either.
I don't. Cincinnati, they're not going anywhere. Miami,
no.
You might as well just give. You might as well just give the Eastern Conference title to them. As far as the Shield is concerned, that too. I mean, it's just a matter of time before they capture the Shield. I'm not worried about those 3 clubs. I'm worried about the one that's right now in 4th.
Yep.
That would be nice if they can able to capture 4th place. And quite simply, it's something that we said earlier in the year that we was going to basically temper our enthusiasm as far as this club is concerned, because we all know what happens after that. Once you get into said playoffs, it's all about hold your breath time, whether you either actually move on to the next round or not. Well, technically they did. Columbus will love 3rd and avoid Miami until the final. That's correct. I mean,
conference final,
conference final. And they're going to touch Miami until then. So, so that's so they'll love 3rd place. Us, we'll probably love 4th place. To be honest,
we were 4th place too. We were also 4th place 2 years ago. What the heck did we do with it? Got destroyed by Cincinnati. We didn't get destroyed, but we lost to Cincinnati.
Yeah, we lost to Cincinnati.
We kickstarted their arc. That's disgusting, man.
Hey, all about opportunities. You got to maximize your opportunities. If you don't, they'll maximize there. So,
Miguel again.
Miami is a mess.
Oh,
well,
Lord,
they're only massive because they had a little help.
Where's your flamingo suit, man? You got your flamingo suit on?
No,
you have a flamingo suit. You got a cannon suit for your gunners. Which one you got, bro? You got both? I'll chip in for you. I'll get to a flamingo too. I'll chip in for you, bro.
Man, what are you trying to do? You're trying to burn that. After you leave, he's next. You know that, right? And I gotta handle that knucklehead when he comes in. So there you go. That. So yeah, it was going to be pretty much of a short show because there was really not much for us to talk about because only two teams are playing that weekend. It was us and of course Gotham. Gotham is on the road, of course, on Monday. We're back here on Saturday next week. Miguel, Carlos, and I will recap everything that happened. It's going to be a very full slate. Red Bulls 2 on Friday, Gotham on Monday, and of course will take place on Saturday. So we're saying a draw, both of us, right? So we don't have a lot of confidence in them. Maybe a tiny little confidence that maybe they'll score, a couple of goals against arguably not exactly a weak D. I mean, that goalkeeper, he stoned us the last time he was at RBA. I'm sure he'll do the same thing over in Soldier Field. So that's how we look at it.
Yeah, I think so.
As always, we can't thank you guys enough, for your support and everything for the show. We put this together for one mission and one mission only. It is your show, and it's definitely for you guys. Miguel is saying it's a loss. Woo! Okay.
I almost said that, to be honest.
I mean,
I almost said that. We could lose to Philly. Losing to Chicago would not surprise me either.
I mean, I did say, Barlow with a goal.
That's bold. That's bold. You think he's going to come off the bench and score against us? That's crazy. That's crazy. If he scores against us and beats us, that's the only goal he scored this entire season. I'm finished.
It's over at the camp next weekend, but I say a dreaded 0-0 draw. Still at the camp.
1-1.
1-1. We're all saying the draw. Well, right now, Miguel's saying it's a loss. We'll see who's right. We'll see who's wrong. As always, remember, if for any particular reason you missed the live show, you can always catch the recording on YouTube, Goals TV, and Spotify.com. And next week, you can also catch us on Twitter. Seriously, you can also catch us on Twitter as our show Skip Broadcast live there on any of the platforms I mentioned previously. All of those episodes are uploaded the very next day. And of course, as always, let us know how we're doing. We welcome any feedback, good, bad, positive, or not. Shoot us an email. Of course, at our email address at NYRBDG, the podcast at gmail.com. So, not much to talk about, not much to deal with me for this week. Next week is going to be very different because we're going to have tons to talk about. We have a special guest. We're working on less than 3 people. And I'll stop by and say hi. So, for the latecomer, and myself, Garry Redmond, thanks so much for joining us this last hour and 53 minutes. We will return next week. Until then, good night, goodbye for now.